Have you ever made the horrible mistake of taking back a guy after giving him another chance only to have him treat you worse when you give him the second chance? What if I told you it's actually possible to spot the exact type of guy who will come back into your life and make it a nightmare once again? On today's show, we're going to be discussing why you should never take a man back if he does these 5 very specific things. That way you never waste valuable years of your life on a guy who didn't even care enough about you to do it right the first time. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all you beautiful souls doing in the chat? I feel like, what's that meme where that black guy who's like really whitewashed, he comes into the Starbucks coffee shop and he's like, how are we all doing today? What are we all doing today? You guys know that meme? I seen that. I don't know what his name is, but I seen that meme. It's pretty funny. I feel like that every time I say welcome, you beautiful souls. How you guys doing? So Sarah is here in the YouTube chat. I see we had Scotty earlier. We got Astro Queen. We got Magdalene. Me is here. Sequia is here. Mona is here. Lena Leak is here. I just answered Lena Leak's question like the other day, I think on Saturday. Welcome all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat who we got over in the YouTube chat. I see we got Ivy. I see we got Kasha. We got Miriam. We got Jaslyn. Who else we got? Is Tracy Nels here? She's usually like first in the chat. Was Tracy Nels first in the chat? Let me scroll up. No, it was Gashley was first in the chat today. And who else we got here? Venom is here. Irina is here. And of course, we got Missy America holding down our YouTube chat as our moderator and so much more in the YouTube and TikTok chat. Welcome all of you beautiful people. Good to see you on this Monday. All right, guys, let's get started today. We're going to be discussing things that you should be looking out for to not take a man back. So number 1 is the accountability avoidant. Now, something that all of you need to understand is that there are certain elements to someone's character and the way that they treat you and the way that they approach a relationship that is just not going to work. You see, if you've joined me for long enough in the Players Club, you know that we talk about a lot. What do you want and what are you looking for? What is important to you? The reason we talk about that is because even though you're the woman in the relationship and even though, yes, quote unquote, your man is supposed to lead, that doesn't mean you allow any random stranger man to lead you off of a cliff because he has no idea where he's going either. Okay. That's not how that works. You need to also approach your relationships with intention, knowing what you're looking for so that you can quickly identify in guys if they are what you're looking for or if they're not. Because a lot of you are dating and in situationships with men who are actively not what you're looking for. But rather than acknowledging that, you're coming to me and asking me, Tomisin, why doesn't he take me out for dinner? Why doesn't he ask me out on dates? Why isn't he consistent with me? Why is he cheating on me? Why is he talking to 30 different girls? Why is he sleeping with everyone under the sun? And I'm trying to explain to you, well, he's just not who you want. And you're asking me why you're not having a good relationship with a guy who isn't even the type of man you would want to be with. Okay? So you need to be identifying that first. Now, the reason I talk about the accountability avoidant and I mentioned what I just mentioned is because I need you to understand that this accountability avoidant trait is not a trait where you say to yourself, oh, this might just be something that is makes them a little bit rough around the edges. Or this might just be something where, maybe it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, but I can work with it and I can, deal with it. This is not all of these points that we're going to discuss today are not points that you should be trying to deal with. They're not points that you should be trying to massage, and they're not points that you should be trying to work with because maybe it's just not that big a deal for you. I'm here to tell you all of these character traits, personality traits, and approaches are big deals. So when you're in a relationship with a guy and it doesn't work out, or in a situationship for some of you, and it doesn't work out, and he comes back to you ready to be with you for whatever reason, or for his second chance, his third chance, his 85th chance, you need to be recognizing if he possesses any of these character traits, nothing is going to work out. Don't even bother yourself. Okay. So when I talk about accountability avoidant, What I'm specifically referring to is guys that will come back into your life or attempt to come back into your life and specifically avoid having to take accountability for whatever it is that they did to you. So let me give you an example of that, okay? So let's say, for the sake of argument, a guy that you were talking to, he just never plans dates with you. He never wants to take you out. He never even takes this relationship seriously. All he does when he contacts you and talks to you is text you, doesn't even call you, doesn't even FaceTime you. He texts you and asks you to come over whenever he needs you. Aside from that, he doesn't speak to you. Aside from that, he doesn't check in on you. Aside from that, he doesn't try to hold any sort of conversation with you unless it's to ask you to come over to his place and for him to jackrabbit himself inside of you for 90 seconds or less, usually less. And so then you say to yourself, well, I can't work with this and I can't be in a relationship with this. This is too painful for me because I expect princess treatment and I expect you to be intentional about our relationship. And I'm not just going to be coming over here and watching Netflix with you all the time. So let's say, for the sake of example, you then cut off this guy, even though some of you probably wouldn't. Let's just say you grow a backbone, a spine, and you decide, I deserve better than this and I'm going to cut this guy off. So an accountability avoidant, what he's going to do is when he tries to weasel his way back into your life, rather than actually coming to you and saying, you know what, I was wrong in the way that I approached our relationship, and I acknowledge and understand that I was literally just asking you to come over to my place, watch Netflix, and basically get you to pay for Uber Eats while I jackrabbit myself inside of you. And that's inappropriate for what I know you deserve. Okay. A guy who can take accountability can recognize how he mistreated you and how his approach needs to be adjusted because that wasn't the right approach for the relationship and that was unfair to you. Now, someone who's an accountability avoidant will purposely try to get back into your life without having to have that conversation with you. So meaning without having to acknowledge his wrongdoing, without having to be honest with you about where he went wrong or the adjustments he could make, he's going to attempt to get back into your life and get back into your good graces and get you back talking with him and hanging out with him without actually ever acknowledging that he did anything wrong. Because if he were to acknowledge that he did something wrong, well, then that would mean he would need to make an adjustment. That would mean he's acknowledging that there's an adjustment even to be made. But if he's able to get back into your life without having to acknowledge that adjustment required or acknowledge that wrongdoing, then he can continue doing the exact same thing over and over again while you sit, complain, but nothing ever changes. Because the reality of it is, if someone is an accountability avoidant, they never want things to change, which is why they avoid taking accountability. Taking accountability, it is also acknowledgement that I need to make a change. And the moment he stops taking accountability, he never has to acknowledge that a change needs to be made. You just get to yap about how unhappy that you are and how much you want things to change, but nothing actually ever changes. And he stays happy because he gets to treat you the same while continuing receive the same treatment from you. And all he has to do is endure your yapping about how you want things to change. Okay, guys become very smart and accustomed to hearing you yap about how you want things to change, but knowing that in the process of you yapping, you're never actually going to do anything about it or withdraw yourself from him because it's too painful for you and because you want this relationship to work so badly with him that he knows as long as he lets you yap and complain about how you want princess treatment and he can just continue going on treating you like garbage and you'll continue staying, opening your legs wide open and allowing him to jackrabbit himself inside of you, okay? So guys begin to understand that. Now, once they understand that to be true and they understand that pattern and they learn you this way, they begin realizing that rather than apologizing to you, all they got to do is be strategic about how they hop back into your life with either a fake apology, an insincere apology, or an example of this, a perfect example of this, right? Accountability avoidant would be someone, let's say for the sake of example that I just gave, where the guy wasn't taking you out for dates. He wasn't planning any dates. He wasn't planning anything with you aside from spending this time with you at his place. and you had a problem with that, and so you cut him off because of that. Let's say, for the sake of example, this guy knows that he was doing that, but he also knows that he doesn't want to acknowledge that he was doing that or acknowledge any wrongdoing in this relationship. But he also knows that in about a week and a half, he's going to see you at a house party where you and your friends are going to be, and he and his friends are going to be. So rather than apologizing to you or coming out and telling you, hey, you know what, I did you wrong, and you know what, I apologize for the way that I treated you and how I disrespected you and didn't take this relationship seriously, he's going to know that if he sees you at that party and you have a couple of shots in you, and he comes up to you and offers you a shot, or he comes up to you and he makes a little sly little joke, inside joke with you, that you're going to laugh, you're going to become weak, and you're going to fold. And just that fast, he's going to be able to talk to you again, get back into your good graces by saying, hey, so you think you're too good for me now? Or, hey, you think you're too cool for me now? You got all big on me now, right? He's going to make one of those slick jokes, and you're going to laugh at it, and then he's going to laugh about it, and then he's going to just go on like nothing ever happened. And just that fast, he's back into your life without ever having to take accountability for his actions or admit to any wrongdoing. You know who that benefits? That benefits him. You know who that hurts and doesn't benefit? It doesn't benefit you. Because like I said, now that guy has the ability to get you back into his life whenever you're upset, whenever you're angry, whenever you have an issue with something. But before he ever has to apologize, all he has to do is be strategic about how he implants himself back into your life. And if he does it the right way, you will forgive him, or you'll forget about the situation that you were upset about. I'm just rubbing Aquaphor in my nose, guys. You'll forget about the situation that you were upset about, and you'll allow him back into your life just that fast. Does that make sense? Okay, right? Jay says, so what do we do if he finally apologizes properly? Well, that's a whole different story, okay? Right? These are part of the things that we want to, and also there's a way to identify an actual proper apology versus a fake apology, okay? And I have a whole show dedicated to what to do exactly when he comes back. Okay, so if he's an accountability avoidant, I want you paying attention to that. And I want you paying attention because for some of you, it takes you multiple times to realize that this is happening. If this happens multiple times, I want you to take notice of that pattern. Take notice that that has been happening over and over again, that every time he seems to be able to enter back into your life, then it comes not from him apologizing, not from him taking accountability for what he did wrong, but it comes because he's been able to strategically weasel his way back into your life without ever acknowledging any wrongdoing. Okay, right? Miriam said Tommy should create exams for us to see how much we've really learned. That'd be a good idea. You guys want that? I could definitely do something like that. Give you guys like a workbook or something like that. I'm gonna bring my iPad on the show in probably like next week or later this week. I'm gonna have my pencil, and I'm gonna be able to write on the screen, and you guys will be able to see what I'm writing on the screen. So we're gonna do a lot of educating there. Okay, so does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay, on what we're discussing and why an accountability avoidant is one of the things you want to be paying attention to, and if he is that, you don't take him back. You don't take back no accountability avoidance. You can't do anything with that, okay? Right? Someone said earlier, where'd you go? Bella said, when he is across the world, I'd like to see him, but he gave up saying, I don't want to spend energy. Okay. I mean, if he says he gives up because he doesn't want to spend energy, then that's on him. Then he doesn't get access to you, okay? Right? We could definitely do a quiz night one of these days for sure, okay? So, number one, the accountability avoidant. Number two is what we're going to discuss as being emotionally blind. Now, when I say being emotionally blind, you have to understand that in a relationship, there becomes a point where when you get into a relationship or when you become serious about building a relationship, you come to the realization that my life is not just about me. When you're actually serious about building a relationship. Now, if you're not actually serious about building a relationship, you're still in the selfish mindset where everything's about me and what I want and what I care about. And if I don't care about it or I don't want it, then it doesn't matter. See, here's the thing, and especially for men. When a man is really prepared to be in a relationship, he begins to build the skill set to be able to say, despite what I care about, despite what matters to me, it's not important if I'm not upset or I'm okay with what's going on. If she's my woman and she's not okay with what's going on or she's upset, there does come a time where I have to put aside my own feelings or my own desires or needs in order to serve her so that she can go back to a state of homeostasis and be happy again. That's why they make the statement, happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life stems from the understanding that men get when they say, look, we're men. We got to deal with it sometimes that we're not always going to get our way. And sometimes it's more important for our woman to be satisfied and happy than it is for us to always get our way all the time. So men have literally shared that secret with other men that, hey, bro, if you want a happy relationship, you're going to have to gain the skill set and ability to step yourself in your wife's shoes. Yeah, what she says might not make sense. Yeah, why she's angry might not make any sense to you and might not have any logic in it. But it doesn't matter because that's your wife and that's the woman that you care about. And her happiness is what should be most important to you aside from anything else. So when I say emotionally blind, what I'm referring to is a man who cannot step himself outside of his own shoes and put himself in your shoes. So when you're upset, he can't possibly fathom that you could be upset for reasons outside of what he thinks is logical, reasonable, and rational. He can't possibly accept the idea that he may have wronged you, even though he might feel like he didn't wrong you, or even though he might feel like he didn't do anything wrong, anything to you. He can't possibly put himself in your shoes and acknowledge the fact that you're still going to be upset, whether or not it makes sense, whether or not it's logical or rational. And the reality of it is, rather than focusing on how little it makes sense or how it's your fault for being upset, he figures out a solution to that, or how to compromise with you, or how to get you back to being happy again. So when I'm talking about emotionally blind, the men that cannot do that are emotionally blind. So let me give you an even more specific example of that so that you can understand exactly what I'm trying to say here. So let's say, for the sake of example, you're going out to a party with a guy. And when you go out to this party with the guy, he's having a conversation with this girl. And, you know, in the process of this conversation he's having with the girl that he's known since before you, he's like smiling and giggling, and they're like touching each other, and they're hugging each other super tight as they're talking. And you're like somewhere with one of your girlfriends getting like a drink and chatting. But you can see from the corner of your eyes across the room, like he's having this really, really animated conversation with this girl that he's known since before he knew you. And you're thinking to yourself, gee, I'm looking at that, and yes, he's not cheating on me. Yes, he's not necessarily doing anything wrong, but just the way he's having that conversation, it's just so laughy, so giggly. They're like all up on each other. They're not kissing or anything, but just that closeness and the way they're talking makes me uncomfortable. So then on the ride back after the party, let's say you're kind of upset and you're kind of annoyed. And so you let him know the situation that kind of upset you or rub you the wrong way or whatever it may be. And he says to you, well, why are you upset about this situation? It doesn't make any sense why you're upset. That's just my friend. That's always been my friend. And you shouldn't have an issue with me having a conversation with my friend. See, these are the type of things that make a man emotionally blind, because yes, it is just his friend. Yes, it is just a conversation. But because he doesn't have the ability to say, you know what, it's not just about me, I have to step outside of myself and be able to see things from her perspective and understand, or at least try to understand, why she could be upset. What about what I did or how I acted or how I approached that situation made her unhappy or sad or angry or triggered her. And see, a man, we can call this emotional intelligence as well, but a man who actually is emotionally intelligent and is capable of doing this will be able to say, you know what? Okay, I understand that was a mistake, even if I don't agree with you. And even if from my perspective, if it was the other way around, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Still, I can acknowledge that your feelings are validated and I understand where you're coming from. And so I will make an adjustment based on what you feel rather than basing it on what I think is right or if I'm upset or not. Because for a lot of people, it's very easy to feel wrong and feel like someone to fix or adjust their behavior when you're the one that's upset. But for a lot of people, especially the guys, it's a lot harder for them to step outside of themselves when they're not the one upset, when they're not the ones that are angry, and say to you or someone else who is upset at them, yeah, okay, I get where you're coming from. I need to understand how to make an adjustment, okay? Even if it's not the most important thing to me in the world, because it's important to you, it becomes important to me, okay? Men that understand that what's important to you is also important to me are capable of making adjustments, making compromises, and you can work with that. I want you to never forget that any man that you're going to meet, right, is not going to be perfect. So they're all going to make mistakes. They're all going to do things that make you unhappy. You're not looking for a perfect man who doesn't make mistakes. What you're looking for is a man who can be accountable and a man who can make adjustments and a man who can put himself in your shoes and hear you out when you communicate to him the reasons that you're upset and is capable and intelligent enough emotionally to make adjustments. Because that's something that can be worked with and that's something that can be sustainable for a long-term relationship. So this is why in this show that we're talking about 5 things that you never want in a man who's coming back to you. Because for a lot of you, when a guy comes back into your life, you're not thinking to yourself, okay, what's going to make this different? What's going to make this not end the same way that it did before? What's going to stop us from seeing the same end result that we saw the first time that we tried this relationship or this situationship? Because if a guy comes back into your life with no plan, if a guy comes back into your life with no course of action, or a guy comes back into your life with any one of these quality traits that we talk about in the show, well, you're not going to be able to sustain a long-term relationship. Whether he comes back once, whether he comes back 100 times or 1,000,000 times, you're still going to see the same end result. So you need to be understanding how to identify different character traits in people so that you can identify, hey, is this even something that could work out if you come back or not? Because if you don't possess these certain character traits, if you're not capable of doing these certain things in a relationship or in a situationship, you shouldn't be in a situationship, right? But in a relationship in general, then I can't even work with this. So you coming back is literally pointless. Okay, I want you all to be able to start to recognize in your life and in your relationships when a guy coming back into your life for the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth or the 100th chance is pointless. Because sometimes a lot of you are just going with the flow yourselves and you're allowing yourself to go with the flow and you don't realize that a guy coming back again and apologizing again for the 9th time has become pointless because you're not actually going to be able to grow in this relationship. You're just going to be on the same hamster wheel, suffering from the same problems and the same issues over and over and over and over again. Okay? Does that make sense? Candy says in the YouTube chat, can you repeat those 5 points? I just joined late. You're on YouTube, so you can rewind it. Okay? So just literally go to your thing and rewind them. You can rewatch them. Kubi says, I think mine has the character trait of a boomerang because he kept coming back with the same BS. Exactly. So, and I want you guys to be recognizing that if you're in a relationship or a situationship where you feel like you're on a hamster wheel, then you have to say to yourself, wait, this is not working. Okay. And I've been here for very long. Ash says, how do you get off the hamster wheel? You just get off. You just get off. You just cut that guy off after realizing that this isn't going anywhere. Okay. I know some of you want a magic potion answer or a magical answer, but you just make the decision that this no longer serves me and I'm not going to spend any more of my time here. Okay. Right. You have to stand up for you. Okay. I said it, I think it was in Friday's show in one of our Discord questions, or was it Saturday's, where I got really angry. And I got angry because when you guys start saying things like, I wish that guy would just leave me alone, or I wish that guy would just not talk to me if he doesn't want to treat me right, or if he just wants to continue utilizing me and taking advantage of me. And it makes me mad because I always try to let you guys know you have to be the one that stands up for you. You can't wait for guys who are mistreating you and taking advantage of you to be the ones to stand up for you and stop taking advantage of you because it's wrong. they're going to continue taking advantage of you because it serves them. If they're getting everything that they want all the time without giving you anything in return, why would they ever lessen or loosen their grip on you where they no longer have you on a hamster wheel? Someone asked, what is a hamster wheel? A hamster wheel, the way I'm talking about it in this context, just means the hamster wheel of having a guy treat you wrong. He comes back, gives you a silly fake apology. You forgive him thinking that things are going to change, and then things never change. They might change for literally a day, and then he goes back to doing the same thing, and then you're upset again, and then he apologizes again, and then he does the same thing over again, and you're on a hamster wheel, constantly forgiving him and then going through the same cycle of emotions over again. Okay, that's the hamster wheel that I'm referring to, and we don't want you guys on that, which is exactly why we're having this conversation today, because some of you get really confused when a guy comes back into your life as to what to do or what direction to move in or what to be looking for. Okay, so what the hell just happened? Okay, so number one was accountability avoidant. Number two was being emotionally blind. Okay, number three is number three. Okay, we'll call this stop pooping time because I actually think this is a really important point for some of you to realize, and it's a nuanced point, so I want you guys paying attention. So now you stop pooping if you're pooping, snip it off, suck it back in, and take your hand out of your pants. You're paying attention. You're looking in my eyes now. Number three, you cannot work with a guy who is romantically unmotivated. Okay? The reason I said this one requires nuance is because this is something that a lot of you don't really notice. See, here's the thing. If you're in a relationship with a guy, there's a couple of realities that need to be faced. Okay? If he's in a relationship with you and he's supposed to be attracted to you physically and emotionally, you're a woman. So like we need to acknowledge that. Yes. Of course, we talk about not desiring, needing attention and validation so much that you allow it to ruin your life. But of course, if you're in a relationship with someone, you're going to want attention. Of course, you're going to want him to care and see you and compliment you and all that good stuff. That doesn't make you a bad person. But here's the thing. You need to identify within your relationship and the guy that's trying to come back into your life if he is romantically unmotivated. Because here's the thing that some of you are going to face, and I'll give you an example of this. Some of you are going to be in situations where the guy that you're trying to date, that you're trying to turn into a boyfriend, literally doesn't want to do anything with you. For example, some of you are frustrated that the guy that you want and you want to build with never asks you out on any date. All he wants to do is sit at home and sit on the couch and watch movies and have pineapples with you. And you're sitting there wondering, well, what can I do to get him to want to go out? Because every time I mention going out, every time I mention doing something nice, he just says, oh, I'm too busy, or oh, I'm too tired, or oh, I just would rather us stay at home so that I can relax, so that I can have peace. And you're thinking to yourself, well, Tomisin, what am I supposed to do? I mean, he doesn't want to go out because he says he's tired, because he works, because he does this, and because he does that. And see, you're in a situation where the guy that you're dating is romantically unmotivated because, yeah, we're all tired. Yeah, we all have work. Yeah, we all have things to do. Yeah, we all like to relax. But the thing about it is, a man who is romantically motivated, it doesn't matter how tired he is, right? It doesn't matter how many hours he's worked. It doesn't matter, how much peace he desires. He wants to do something for you because he likes you, he wants you, and he wants to impress you. So here's the issue that some of you are going to face with the guy that's coming back into your life or you're on this hamster wheel with, is he is romantically unmotivated. So he literally cannot do anything more than the absolute bare minimum for you. And it becomes like pulling teeth anytime you expect from him or desire from him to do just a little bit more than the absolute bare minimum. So you're frustrated because you're thinking, how do I get my boyfriend to act like a boyfriend? I think mine's broken. I'm not sure how to make this one. I can't wind it up properly because I see other girls go taken out on dates and fancy gifts and all this stuff, and he'll treat her right and he'll give her surprises. And I'm sitting here like, I literally would love it for us to just like go out to like McDonald's together. Like me and him just going out to McDonald's, and maybe he plans that in advance. I would be perfectly fine for that because I don't even get that. All I get is sitting at home, and I get Uber Eats, and I pay for the Uber Eats. And we watch the Netflix on my account. And so some of you are with a guy who is romantically unmotivated. And so the reason I talk about that is because that's one of those character traits that you can't do anything with. So when a guy comes back into your life and he's romantically unmotivated, there's nothing you can do to work with that. There's nothing you can do to build off of that. That's not like a pet peeve character trait. That's not like I just don't kind of like that, or that just kind of bothers me. That's one of those character traits where you literally cannot work with or grow a relationship out of. It's like inhabitable soil. Think of your relationship like a plant, like a seed that needs the right type of soil in order to germinate and grow. If you're in a relationship that exists with a romantically unmotivated man, that is the wrong type of soil that no plant can ever grow out of. Your relationship will never be able to grow out of that. Because what are you supposed to do with a guy who you're in a relationship with who isn't even romantically motivated in your relationship to do anything with you or for you? You're going to be the one having to be the boyfriend and the girlfriend. You're going to have to give yourself princess treatment while simultaneously giving him princess treatment. So you can't work with that. You can't do nothing with that. That's not going to work for you. So this becomes another one of those reasons why don't even bother taking a guy back, because you're just going to end up on a hamster wheel, even more frustrated than you began when you first saw the guy or when you first started spending time with that guy. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Ivy says, I got asked to plan the first date. I think that is a red flag. 100%. 100%. Ivy, you're an A+ student. That is a perfect example of a romantically unmotivated man. See, when guys start asking you to do the work for him, right? I want you to plan the date. I want you to say where you want to go. I want you to tell me when you're free. I want you to tell me how much you like me and what you want to do with me and when you want to hang out and stuff like that. When he starts asking you to do all of that work so that he doesn't have to do that work, that's a man that's romantically unmotivated. So when you find yourself, even in general, whether it be the first time or he's coming back for the 8th time, right? When you find yourself in a relationship like that, you need to be saying to yourself, I can't work with this. I can't work with this, and I shouldn't even entertain us trying to build a relationship out of this because I can't. What are you supposed to do with a guy who is asking you to plan the dates? What are you supposed to do with that? What are you supposed to do? Because if you plan the date the first time, what do you think he's going to expect the second time? That you plan the date again. What do you think he's going to expect the 3rd time and the 4th time? And if you're going to plan all the dates, you might as well date yourself. Why are you dating a man who's going to make you plan all the dates? It don't make a damn bit of sense. And so I say that to say, you want to be the woman, you want to be the one getting princess treatment, and you want to be the feminine energy in your relationship, but you can't do that if your man is romantically unmotivated, because the reality of it is you're never going to be able to get him to be motivated if he's internally romantically unmotivated. And some guys are like that, where they just don't have the motivation to do anything for the woman that they're with. Now, that doesn't mean that they'll never have romantic motivation, because I'm sure some of you have noticed being with the guy who was romantically unmotivated with you, but then you see him start dating another girl and all of a sudden he's doing the absolute most for her. Or some of you have been in the situation vice versa. The girl who he was with before you maybe wasn't giving him, or he wasn't giving any princess treatment or doing anything for. Then when he was with you, he did the most for you. Okay, it happens. So I want you to be aware and be self-aware whether you're actually receiving that from a guy or whether you're with a guy that's just romantically unmotivated with you, because that's not gonna, that ain't gonna work for you. Okay, right? A. Joseph says I've been on both sides. It's true, right? And it's a good habit to practice, to recognize if you're with the guy who is romantically motivated or not. Okay, right? House of Queens says, if he is not a type of person who talk what he feels and we stop contacting, how can I make him ask? You don't make someone contact you. Okay, that's not how that works. Okay, that's not how that works. Devon Clark says, true, can't do much with the dude like that, period. Dude got the personality of a cardboard box. 100%. 100%. Don't be trying to think, guys, how you can turn a man who is romantically unmotivated into a man who really wants to do the most for you. He either got it in him or he doesn't. So when a guy comes back into your life, usually the romantically unmotivated men are also going to be trying to do the absolute least when it comes to getting back in your good graces, right? They're usually going to be in line with someone who doesn't want to take too much accountability and tries to weasel their way back into your life without actually apologizing for anything or without actually making a change. Why? Because they want to continue doing the absolute bare minimum. Okay, right? Vanessa says, can they get emotionally motivated over time? Does it take guys longer? 100%. Guys can become emotionally motivated over time. However, that's going to require some pain on your part because in the process of getting him emotionally motivated, you're going to have to do some withdrawing. And I know for a lot of you, withdrawing is the most painful thing that you don't want to hear me say because you're thinking, Tomisin, I just wanted you to tell me how I could mix together this magic potion and in literally 30 seconds, he would do a complete 180 and want me. But reality of it is the only way you can get a guy who has been romantically unmotivated to become romantically motivated is to show him what his life is like without you in it so that he can recognize how much he does want you in his life. Unfortunately, that's the only way to get a guy who hasn't been recognizing your value to recognize your value. And for some of you, that's really painful because that's going to require you to not speak to him and not talk to him and actually, hold your ground and stand your ground. Okay. But that's a whole different story for another day. So number one was the accountability avoidant. Number two, being emotionally blind. Number three, romantically unmotivated. And number four, and this is another really important one that I want you paying attention to, okay? Number four is what we're going to describe as directionless dating. Some of you are going to notice that when you're in a situation with a guy, you guys break up. And he comes back to you for the second, third, fourth, or fifth time. That every time you guys come back to each other, there is a lack of direction in where things are supposed to be going or what we're establishing here. One of the biggest issues that you can face is a lack of clarity. Why? Because a lack of clarity only ends up hurting you. Because when you don't have clarity, you're confused, you're in limbo, you don't know where to go, you don't know where things stand, and you can't properly move forward with your life, but you also aren't going to get what you want from that guy. Meanwhile, that guy usually gets to utilize that time of confusion for you and do a whole bunch of silly stuff and BS behind your back and in front of you. And even when you catch him, he gets to pass it all off on the confusion that both of you are suffering from in this relationship because neither of you understand what's going on. Okay, so let me give you an example of directionless dating. Let's say you are with the guy for a couple of months and you guys have a couple of fights and disagreements, and so you guys end up breaking up. Now, a couple of, let's just say 2-3 weeks goes by of no contact, and then all of a sudden you guys get back together and start talking again. Now, when you guys start talking again, there is no reestablishment of, hey, we were once dating, but now we're not dating anymore, or we're not dating anymore, but now that we're back together, we're literally working towards dating again, and we're just trying to figure out if we can work this thing out, but we're locked in. We're not here to mess around. See, directionless dating is when guys come back into your life, but they don't want to acknowledge any path forward into towards a destination. So what I mean by that is the destination should always be, if he's coming back into your life, hey, we're here to build this relationship back up better than it was before. We're not here to be on a hamster wheel and do the exact same things that we did before. But here's the really tricky part, is that a lot of guys recognize that they can actually get their cake and eat it too by dating you, messing up, taking a break from you, taking some space from you, coming back into your life, and then rekindling this relationship, but not making it clear to you that this is meant to be a serious relationship, because it hasn't been long enough that you have forgotten about him, but it's also been such a short amount of time that in the process of you guys taking this kind of pause here, your feelings for him still exist for him. So when you guys get back together after this relationship ended the first time, you easily jump back into resuming the way that you guys were doing your relationship before. So if, let's say for the sake of example, you were in a year-long relationship with this guy, you were living at his place and you were washing his clothes, cooking him dinner and all that good stuff. And then when you guys broke up, you moved out and you didn't see each other for like 3 or 4 weeks. And then you guys came back and started talking again. And now you're sleeping over at his place again. What do you think you start doing the moment you start sleeping at his place again? You start washing his underwear, cleaning his socks, cleaning the countertop, cooking him spaghetti, having him slurp spaghetti sauce all over his face and things like that, right? And the thing about it is, when you come back in that capacity and you give him that girlfriend treatment once again, there is no establishment of the fact that you guys are now back in a serious relationship. In fact, you guys getting back now, you've only discussed some of the issues, but never discussed a path forward. So now you're back treating the guy who was once your boyfriend like he's your boyfriend, but you don't have the title of girlfriend like you once had when you were actually his girlfriend. So now when you guys get back together, he goes out and he talks to whoever he wants. He sees a nice pretty girl with a nice fat dump truck and he takes her back to his house and he sleeps with her. And one way or another, you find out that he slept with this girl. And when you confront him, you want to know what he says to you? He says, "But we ain't together though. But we never said we're dating again. We just said that we were working on our issues. What's the problem? We are not together. We're not a thing. We're just seeing where things go." So then you're thinking to yourself, I'm having an error code. I'm starting to glitch, because you're like, wait a second. He's technically right, but this feels so wrong because I know deep down in my soul this is not okay. But as I'm trying to present to him why this is not okay, he's actually making truthful points that we're not in a relationship. So then you start feeling like a complete idiot because you're saying to yourself, why am I here confused about where things stand? And why am I here allowing this man to do whatever he wants and sleep with whoever he wants, but I'm committing myself fully to him? But see, your level of investment now is so deep in this guy because you spent so much time with him, and now you're back in girlfriend mode. You're thinking to yourself, how am I going to pull myself out of this? Because I don't want to talk to any other guy. I don't want to sleep with any other guy. But now he's literally telling me that he has an excuse and a get out of jail free card to be able to sleep with whoever he wants and do anything with whoever he wants whenever he wants. And I'm basically here left not being able to say anything or address anything and continue to be in limbo. So you're in a situation where you're directionlessly dating. So see, this is the thing. You need to be, when you're meeting guys for the first time, the second time, the third time, you need to be identifying patterns in whether or not he is someone who directionlessly dates, is just willing to hang out with you as a friend while he treats you like a girlfriend, but you're not his girlfriend, but you're confused now because down the line, he's now treating another girl like his girlfriend. Okay? Because directionless dating is not just guys playing you, okay? Directionless dating is not just guys pretending like they want to date you and then sleeping with you and then saying, oh yeah, it was all a lie. Directionless dating is also the guys that will convince you, hey, we are friends. Me and you are just friends. Meanwhile, they'll proceed to treat you like a girlfriend. That's still a version of directionless dating. Are you following me? Because you're still confused where things stand. Even if he's treating you well and you're like, wow, this is really good treatment, I really appreciate this, the fact that he doesn't make it clear why he's treating you this way and what the end goal is confuses you. And so you're in limbo. And that confusion, like I said, only leads to heartache, only leads to pain, only leads to suffering. Nothing good ever comes out of confusion. You always want to be striving for clarity. And a lot of guys that you date are going to come to you from the standpoint of directionless dating. They just want to date you in a way that is not categorized as you guys being together, but it's a cool thing and it's a chill thing and you're besties and everything's a vibe and so much vibes are going on that you don't have time to worry about categories or titles or anything like that. See, let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you a little secret. Shh, don't tell anyone I told you. The only people that want to convince you, and I'm telling you this as someone who's literally tried this myself, the only people that want to convince you that titles are a bad thing or titles are too much pressure or titles are a distraction, the only people that want to convince you of those things are people that want to actively avoid categorizing your relationship so that there are no expectations. Because you know how you can't be mad at me? You know how you can't blame me or call me a bad person? Is if I set zero expectations for our relationship and zero standards for our relationship or what we're going to be, so that when and if I mess up, you can't blame me for telling you one thing and doing another. I got to say, well, I didn't know. If you would have told me I was confused, we were confused. If we had just, I didn't know that we were doing a thing where I don't get to sleep with other people. I thought I was just jackrabbiting myself inside of you for enough time while we enjoy each other's company and while we eat dinner together and while we sleep in the same bed every single night and you spend 7 days a week at my place. And I thought we were just doing a casual thing. Okay? Really, really slick for people to do after they tell you that, hey, let's not put a title on it. Let's just be cool. Let's just be chill. I don't want to ruin the vibe. See, what's ruining the vibe is the lack of clarity. But they don't want to acknowledge that. They want to pretend like ruining the vibe is making it very clear what the standards and expectations are. Don't directionlessly date people. Okay, ever. And don't take men back into your life who want to directionlessly date you. So if he comes back into your life and he can't make it clear why he's here and what he's trying to work towards, meaning what adjustments need to be made so that you guys can get back into a long-term serious relationship, don't even bother entertaining those men at all, because they're not coming back into your life to do anything positive. They're only coming back into your life to make it a nightmare again. And to make it confusion again, and to make it chaos again. You don't want that, and you don't want to be dealing with that, so you don't take guys back who are going to approach it that way, okay? Valeria says, don't date narcissists and don't be blind. Yes, of course, it's easier said than done, and we all make mistakes, which is why the Players Club exists, so that you can all get better at your judgment skills and get better at being able to analyze situations and analyze people, take them for what they're actually presenting to you and not your idea of them, and then be able to make decisions based on that, and also be able to cut people off when they're showing themselves that to be not what you're looking for, okay? Right? So Rosemary says, I needed you a year ago. That's pretty funny, okay? You got me right at the right time. Okay. Toka says, what kind of guy are you, Thompson? I'm the kind of guy who has done these things to be able to tell you about these things. So don't ever listen to me thinking that I'm the perfect type of man, that because I come on here, I'm dressed in red, I got a red background and a nice camera, that I'm a perfect individual who is void of mistakes. And I tell you to date guys like me. I'm telling you how guys treat you because I've been a guy that's treated people like this. Okay. And I'm telling you the tactics that I used and the way I understood the world and the way I understood how to get what I want from people. Okay. So I'm not saying this as like, oh, I'm the stand-up guy that you should date and you should be in a relationship with. No, I actually have done this, which is why I can talk to you about this. Okay. So number one was the accountability avoidant. Number two was being emotionally blind. Number three was being romantically unmotivated. Number four was directionless dating. And number five is what we call the complacency mindset. Okay. Now, When I'm discussing the complacency mindset, what I'm referring to, similar to when I talked about a man who is emotionally unmotivated, a man who has a complacency mindset will constantly be thinking about how to do the absolute least. And he will be happy just doing enough for your relationship, for his life, and for your relationship to barely survive. Here is the problem, though, with the complacency mindset, and this is where I want to get really serious here, and I want you to be taking this in. The problem with the complacency mindset is, see, down the road, as your relationship gets longer and longer and longer lasting, you have to be looking for new ways as a partner to reinvent your relationship and continue pouring that spark into it. And the thing about it is, when you begin to adopt the complacency mindset, not only will you stop trying to put your best foot forward in the relationship, but you'll also stop trying to be the best version of yourself in this relationship. You'll stop taking care of yourself. You'll stop thinking about how to be a great partner, how to be an attractive partner, how to seduce your partner, how to be intimate with your partner, how to all these emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, all these things that matter in order to create a long-lasting, sustainable relationship. A guy with a complacency mindset will not be thinking of, because he's only thinking about how to just continue it on the bare minimum, doing the absolute least amount of effort required to sustain this relationship. See, similar to a guy who's romantically unmotivated in a more general sense, when he has a complacency mindset, he's not thinking about how to put his best foot forward. See, putting your best foot forward isn't just about doing the right things sometimes. Isn't just about surprising your partner or thinking of them or thinking how to make your relationship more spicy and exciting sometimes. It's about constantly thinking about how to bring something new in your relationship. Try something new in your relationship. Continue to keep that spark and that excitement around in your relationship. Have you ever heard two old couples say that, hey, part of the reason that we broke up was because, or we divorced or whatever it may be, was because we lost our spark in our relationship? We lost that fire in our relationship. That's what happens when people become complacent, because they stop thinking about how to be the best version of themselves or the best partner to their partner. They stop thinking about how to bring that fire or that spark by trying new things and continuing to date their partner. Because it's easy to date someone when you first start dating them. But when you've been with them for years, it's a lot harder to continue dating them and keep that excitement alive. Okay? And so the reason that I bring this up is because when you're thinking about taking a man back, right, when you're really considering what he brings to the table and whether or not this is a good idea to bring a man back into your life or reintroduce him back into your life, you need to be thinking to yourself, what type of mindset do you even bring to this relationship? Do I constantly have to drag you along and get you to want to do things, get you to want to be the best version of yourself in this relationship, get you to want to actually put your best foot forward here, be thinking of fun things to do, even if outside of just going out on dates and going on fancy dinners? Are you actually thinking about how you can make this relationship better? Continue to bring the spark and excitement here? Or are you only thinking about how to just keep this relationship coasting and never trying to try something new or escalate it or grow our bond or grow our connection here? Okay? And see, when a guy has a complacency mindset, you'll be the one doing all of that work, trying to get him motivated, trying to get him there, trying to get him to realize, hey, we can't just sit around and pretend like we have a relationship because we say we're boyfriend and girlfriend. That actually requires work. That actually requires us to date. That actually requires us to put in effort into being girlfriend and boyfriend. And being girlfriend and boyfriend isn't just kissing on the lips sometimes and you jackrabbiting yourself inside of me. There's so much more intimacy. There's so much more romance. There's so much more everything required for our connection with each other. That's not just you jackrabbiting yourself inside of me. And a guy with the complacency mindset will never be able to understand that. Hence why you shouldn't even bother allowing guys like that back into your life, because you're not going to be able to build with those men. Remember, I said at the very beginning of the show, Every single point we're going to discuss today is about the character traits that are basically impossible for you to build a relationship with. Why? Because these character traits make it impossible to build anything off of. They're not habitable soil that you can plant the relationship seed in and allow that relationship to sprout. So another example of that is the complacency mindset. You can't sprout a seed out of soil where the man that you're with has a complacency mindset and he wants to do the bare minimum with everything. Okay. And that includes not just the romance, it also includes for his own life as well. Because some men that you meet will have a complacency mindset when it comes to their approach to their own life. They want to do the bare minimum, work the bare minimum job, have the bare minimum hours. You know what else they have when they work a bare minimum job and bare minimum hours? They have bare minimum money, bare minimum opportunities, bare minimum resources, bare minimum freedom. And you know who are some of the most unhappy people on this planet? Are people with bare minimum freedom, bare minimum resources, bare minimum opportunities. Okay, especially the men with the bare minimum of all of those. And so they all kind of snowball into each other because when he has a complacency mindset, he'll bring that mindset to his life. And because he has a complacency mindset, he'll have a complacency lifestyle. And because his lifestyle is the bare minimum, he'll be a quite unhappy camper. And who do you think is going to be the one dealing with all of that unhappiness that is derived from him internally because of where his life is at? Who do you think is going to be the one dealing with that when he is in that state in his life? Where because of his complacency, because of his lack of a desire to do anything with his life, he has nothing in his life. So then how is he supposed to feel like a man or feel like someone who can actually do something for you when he knows deep down in his heart he can't even do anything for himself? Sounds silly, and I know for some of you, you're like, Tomisin, that kind of sounds kind of shallow. Are you saying that I should only date rich men and I should only date men who have a lot of money? No, I'm saying you should only date motivated men, okay? There are even men who aren't rich that are still motivated that will eventually get to where they're going. But the men who are unmotivated can't do nothing, and they can't do nothing for you. And they won't fulfill anything in their life, and you know who they're going to blame when they don't fulfill anything in their life? They're going to blame you. I'm just being real with you, okay? It's part of the reason why I get so upset when guys are playing video games that aren't in a place in their life where they want to be. And they're wasting their life away playing video games when they should be grinding for whatever it is that they need to be grinding for, okay? Pursuing whatever it is that they need to be pursuing. They're sitting around twiddling their thumbs, playing silly video games. Don't get me started. I'm going to get mad. Okay, right? So don't be with a man who has a complacency mindset. Okay, right? Elevate says married a rich man and he isn't the best husband. He is just like the guy you're talking about. Well, obviously, dating a guy who's rich is why I also don't advise you guys to be only focused on money. Dating a guy who's rich isn't going to solve all your problems, okay? There's much more to the relationship than just the money. But when I'm talking about rich, or even if I say the word rich or wealthy, I'm not even really talking about rich in terms of financially. I'm talking about rich and wealthy in a mindset, right? Motivated in a mindset, wanting to get after it in a mindset. That's when a man is at his best. The lazy men who don't want to do anything with their life, who want things to come very easy to them. We call them microwave men in this show because they want to pop you in the microwave, pop your relationship in the microwave and get it out easy, pop their life in the microwave, get it out easy, pop their career in the microwave, get it out easy, pop money in the microwave, get it out. They want everything to come to them super easy. And microwave men get really, really, really frustrated when life doesn't happen to them very easily. They give up very easy. They don't want to try anything hard. They don't want to do anything that requires real consistency and work. work. So where do you think that shows up? It shows up in your relationship and the way that he treats you. You think a man who's too unmotivated to do anything in his own life is going to start taking you out on dinner dates and planning a week in advance and doing everything that's required to like court a girl and show her respect and show her effort? No, because he wants to pop you in the microwave or pop you in the toaster like a Pop-Tart and have you ready in literally 45 seconds. You don't work like that, right? Does that make sense? Rhonda says, sorry, I can't deal with the lazy man. You shouldn't. None of you should. Leave the lazy men that are unmotivated and can't do nothing for you. Leave those men to the girls and the women who aren't part of the Players Club. See, you in the minority of the people, okay, that are in the Players Club, you get all the benefit of understanding men, understanding what to look for, and all of you in the Players Club can actually go and get all the high value, amazing men that you're looking for. And we can leave the not so good men, the garbage men, we can leave those to the people who aren't in the Players Club, that aren't paying attention to any of the stuff that we talk about today, okay? Right? Does that make sense? So do you guys have any questions about the 5 things that we discussed today? Accountability avoidant, emotionally blind, romantically unmotivated, directionless dating, and the complacency mindset, okay? Rosie says, does demand and supply work in relationship? The idea of it work in relationships? 100%. 100%. In fact, it's kind of the essence of what attraction is in relationships, is supply and demand. Not that you're a product, but you have to understand that the business model of supply and demand stems from human psychology. And that's why products sell, because of that human psychology. So it's the same thing when it comes to you and people's attraction to you. As you are in demand more and you're in supply, right? Meaning you're less available to other people, your value in people's eyes, that's just in general, increases. Vice versa, if you're not in a lot of demand, meaning nobody really wants you, and you're available to anyone that even takes a glance at you, then that makes your value go down in people's eyes. It's just psychology. It's not meant to be a diss to you. It's not meant to say you're not worth anything, but I do want you to understand that a really good product might not sell out because the marketing is off. Not that you're a product, but I also need you to understand you can be an amazing person and guys don't approach you the right way or give you princess treatment because your marketing is off or because the way you present yourself is off. Are you following me, right? So that's why we discuss this in the Players Club, and that's why I exist in your life, so that I can give you a more detailed, nuanced understanding of how men think, how they operate, how they go about relationships, so that you can absorb that information and not make the mistake of doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, or presenting yourself the wrong way, that he's going to treat you based on how he now perceives you. Not that you have to change yourself or change who you are, but there is a strategy to understanding how to shine the right kind of light on yourself so he sees you the way that you want to be seen. Are you following me? Okay, right? K1123 says, what's the best way to break up with these men? Do they deserve a phone call? You just break up with them. Just break up with them. Whatever you feel like will give you closure. See, when you decide in your life that, let's say for the sake of example, you realize that the guy you're talking to is one of these things that we discussed today. When you make the decision that this is time for the relationship to end, all you need to be worried about is your own closure. So whatever makes you feel comfortable and feeling like you've gotten this situation out of your system and this is it for you, do that. So if it's having an in-person conversation with him, then do that. If it's having a phone call with him, then do that. If it's a FaceTime, then do that. If it's a text message even, then do that. Whatever you feel like you can close the chapter and move forward, do that. If it's not saying anything to him and just blocking him, do that. Okay, I don't want you to be worried about what the best way to do it for him is, because at the end of the day, it's about you getting closure for yourself so that you can move forward. Truthfully and honestly, it doesn't matter what people think that you're not going to be in a relationship with. I mean, yeah, you don't want to burn bridges, but at the end of the day, the bridge is burned when you guys break up. So like, let's just be so for real, okay? If you're breaking up with someone because they weren't treating you how you expect to be treated, don't be so worried about what the right way to break up with them is. Just break up with them, okay? Right? Nina V says, sometimes during a breakup, you see there's not even a point to discuss things with him anymore. Sometimes that is true as well, right? Sometimes in a breakup, you'll realize Me telling you all the reasons that I'm breaking up with you now at this point is kind of pointless, because all you're going to do is try to defend yourself. And all you're going to do is tell me how the ways or reasons I think that we should break up is wrong. But at the end of the day, that's not going to change my mind or my feeling towards the situation. So I'd rather just tell you like we're breaking up, or I'd rather just not say anything. Sometimes that's the case, you know, right? Kaya says, I told a guy, let me scroll up here. Kaya says, I told a guy I was interested on, and that I didn't know he had a serious case of, I think you might say he was emotionally unavailable. Part of the things you have to be looking at. Maggie says, when dating, should I let a man always lead in communication as I do nothing? He is very cons. What do you mean cons? Yes, let him do nothing while a man courts you and lets you see how much interest he has in you. Some of you get really anxious when you're dating guys and thinking that it's your responsibility to do a whole bunch for him, to prove to him something, and you forget that a man approached you because he wants something from you, not the other way around. Okay? Daddy says, can emotionally unavailability be worked on with guys? 100% no. Maybe we have a show on just emotional availability, guys, because I feel like some of you are really confused when it comes to this. Men that are emotionally unavailable, you should be running away from them. I mean running away from them. I mean don't waste any of your time on them. I mean don't spend any seconds, minutes, milliseconds of your time on them. It is not and will never be your job to get a man who is emotionally unavailable to be emotionally available. He has to do that work for himself so that he can work through whatever situation that he was in and decide for himself, okay, now I'm ready to date. You can't speed a guy up in being ready to date and being ready to be in a relationship, okay? That does not work like that. And if you're waiting, so this is why I tell some of you, and I'm not to be mean, this is why I tell some of you who are dating married men or asking me about questions, oh, how do I get this guy who has a girlfriend to like me? This is why I tell some of you, you better not even waste your time, because you're never going to be the priority to a guy who's married or a guy who has a girlfriend. So this idea that you're going to make a guy who has a girlfriend or a guy who's married emotionally available to you is ridiculous. And you're putting yourself on a hamster wheel of pain and confusion when it's actually really clear what this is. And you're sitting there wondering, why can't I get treated like a priority when he has a wife and children? It's because he's got a wife and children. That's why. And for some of you, he's got a wife, children, and grandchildren. Okay? And you're wondering why you can't be the priority. That's because you'll never be. Okay? Dopamine Drip says, why do emotionally unavailable men even date? Why do emotionally unavailable women even date? Right? Why does emotionally unavailable anyone even date? Because everyone wants their cake and eat it too. And not a lot of people are willing to be honest with themselves about where they're at mentally. They'd rather forget about the last person they dated by dating someone new and filling their mind and brain space with the new person than actually work through the situation that they were once in and heal from it. Okay? Healing and working through a situation and acknowledging what happened is very painful. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. And so most people don't want to do it. They'd rather just forget about the last person they dated by dating someone new so they can put a Band-Aid on it and never actually have to work through it. That's the easy way out. So that's the choice that a lot of people choose, which is why you end up finding yourself dating some guys who are emotionally unavailable. But it's not. I want you to stop thinking, oh, why would an emotionally unavailable man date me? You're so wrong for that. And I want you to start thinking to yourself, how can I quickly identify the guys who are emotionally unavailable so I don't waste my time with them? Because similar to when I talk to you guys about, hey, don't be sitting here blaming guys who are taking advantage of you for not letting go of their grip on you and just stop talking to you because you can't help yourself. You need to start taking responsibility for yourself and saying the moment a guy starts taking advantage of me or disrespecting me, he will never have access to me again. I'm not waiting for him to, why would a guy who's taking advantage of me and getting everything he wants be doing me a favor by leaving me alone so that he can no longer take advantage of me? It doesn't make sense. If you're going to continue allowing it, he will continue doing it. Right? Does that make sense? D Single says, how about if a married woman who is dating young guys? I think some of you have the wrong idea of why we call this show the Players Club. I do not advise any of you to be dating married people or to be married dating other people or to be dating someone and then trying to date other people. I feel like maybe because it's titled Players Club, some of you come in here confused about what we actually do here. It's called the Players Club because we want to put you in the player's mindset so that you can understand how they think and how they operate. It's not called the Players Club because I'm teaching you how to have 35 boyfriends while you have 3 husbands. That's not what we teach here. And I also don't teach you how to date married men, multiple married men. Okay, that we don't do that here. Okay, maybe somewhere else on some other show with some other content creator, they do that. That's perfectly fine. You go over there. I don't advise you guys to be doing that. I don't even advise you guys to be having a roster. So I just want to clear that up so that none of us are confused here. Okay, married women. And while I can't tell you how to live your life, I don't think that you'll see very good results in your life or very good karma in your life if you're married, dating younger men. Okay, but that's a whole nother story for another day. Okay. User says he will keep doing it to you and be the perfect man for the next woman because he learned from you. 100%. You can't wait on guys to treat you right and hope that he'll learn his lesson and start treating you the right way. You just have to have that respect for yourself. Okay. Tati says, have a roster of single men. I don't advise any of you beautiful souls to have rosters, not because I think you're incapable of it or not smart enough to juggle it. I just don't think that it serves you because you'll start spreading yourself so emotionally thin that you're not properly able to absorb and analyze the situations and the people that you're with. Have you guys ever, and I don't want to get too off topic here, but I just want to speak to this point. Answer in the chat for me. Have you guys ever watched the show on Netflix, Love is Blind? You know how on Love is Blind, where at the beginning, they're all dating each other and getting to know each other and writing each other's and like they've never met any other people here. And there's like 20 people to get to know on that first couple of days. Have you ever noticed that in Love is Blind on the first couple of episodes, everyone has a notebook with them, right? Everyone brings a notebook with them and they're writing down people's names and their answers and everything that they're talking about in this conversation. Why do you think they're writing that stuff down on a notebook? They're there. You're having a conversation with someone, you're there, you already know what they said. Why do you need to write it down in your notes? Just remember it, right? You would think so, right? But what you don't understand is that as human beings, we have what's called emotional bandwidth. And emotional bandwidth is essentially like, think of it like a memory card, like a computer. We only have a certain capacity to be able to absorb people, learn about them, understand them, deal with their emotions, and take them in as a human being, right? Until we stop being able to absorb any more information. After a certain point where all the information is just going to become jumbled up and we're going to forget, wait, but was that guy that made me laugh, was that John or was that James? The guy that I shared a lot of interest and hobbies with, was that Jordan or was that John? I can't remember. Guy number 3 or guy number 32. And so your emotional bandwidth starts getting spread so thin because they're dating multiple men on the show. So they have to bring their notes in order to be able to look back on their notebook and say, okay, yeah, James was the guy I really got along with. He's got one kid. His kid's 3 years old. He's been divorced. Okay, John's the guy who's single. He's a little bit on the younger side. I laughed with him, but I think he might be a little bit immature. And so when you start dating multiple people, when you get that roster, you literally have to start keeping notes just to remember and keep track of where you're at emotionally with each person. And so I say that to say, you having rosters is going to spread you so emotionally thin. It's going to become very difficult for you to absorb people and understand them and analyze their behavior and analyze how you feel about them in this relationship. And what you're going to end up doing when you have a roster, this is going to become natural because you have so many options. You're going to be willing to deal with more BS from each person because you're going to say to yourself, hey, the ways that you don't work for me in this relationship, I don't really have to care about those ways because the second guy or the third guy, they have those issues fixed and they don't have those issues. So rather than dating one person who's actually what I'm looking for, I'll basically date 4 guys who are all kind of what I'm looking for and kind of not what I'm looking for. But if I mix them all in the right way, they'll be just enough of one guy that I'm looking for by and not working with me and working with me in the ways that they do. So you'll basically create a boyfriend out of 4 or 5 men instead of creating a boyfriend out of 1 man. The problem is you can only be in a relationship with 1 guy. So eventually you're going to have to choose 1 guy. And when you're choosing that 1 guy, you're going to realize that no matter which one you choose, it's always going to end up being someone that you don't want because you were only dating them when you had a roster of people to choose from, but you weren't actually going to date them if they were your only choice. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Sorry for the little glitches there. Don't worry, it'll return here in a bit. All right. Okay. With that being said, it is time. I know it's glitching on and lagging on the live stream, but it is time. Don't worry, it'll stop glitching by the time we hop into it. Can you let me know in the chat what time it is? Someone said it's glitch attack time. I want to know in the chat, what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go. In the chat now. What time is it? In the chat now. Tell me what time is it? In the chat now. What time is it? In the chat now. Tell me what time is it? I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. It's glitching a lot. It's glitching a lot. This better get fixed. It's Discord. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see if we can fix this little glitch here. I know that was like a really glitchy version of Discord time for you guys, but I want to make sure we can fix this. Here we go. Let's just see if I can get this to reconnect here. Let's see. Let's see. Welcome, all you beautiful people. Let's see if I disconnect here. If I put that on Sorry, guys. I know you guys don't like when the connection goes off. I don't like that either. Let's see. Airplane. What the hell? I want to know what time it is. I want to know. Tell me if it goes back. I see some of you guys are lagging. Let me know if it goes back to normal or if it's still lagging for some of you. Let's see. I'm gonna go back. We go here. Excuse me. Okay. Let's head over into our Discord, where we can get this thing started, and let's hope that it doesn't continue this. Someone says not glitching anymore. Okay, good. Okay. So for those of you who are confused about what that whole thing was, essentially what Discord time is a time in the a beautiful time. It's a time in our Players Club Discord that we have here, where all the beautiful members of the Players Club get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer their situation live on the show. Okay, so you have multiple ways that you can submit in your question into the Players Club. So the first way is to send your question into the free relationship advice section, and the free relationship advice section is you can just put in your question, fill in the title. This is funny. Fill in the title, and I will answer your question. But you have to keep in mind it's first come, first serve, and there are a couple hundred, well, hundreds at least, of questions for me still to do. And it'll take me probably about a month to answer your question if you submit your question into the free section here. Okay. So because I got to make it fair. Now, you also have a second option to submit your question if you're just really impatient and you don't want to wait a month for me to answer your question. You can also submit your question to Relationship Advice Premium, where all you got to do to submit your question is donate to the show. And you donate to the show by going over to my TikTok, the link in my bio, or you go over to to the link in my description, and you can find where it says Premium Relationship Advice. You donate to the show, you send in your Discord username and the title of your question, and you'll be able to, I'll be able to verify it from my end because I'm looking here and I'm seeing the people that donated here and I can see that it's them. And I'll be able to verify that's you, and then I'll answer your question live on the show. By the way, we also have a second version as well. If you are someone who you don't want me to read your question live on the show, we also have private relationship advice where you ask me a question, you fill out a form, and you ask me your question, and then I respond to you via voice message on your email. Okay, that's just if you don't want it to be public. So there's multiple options for you guys here. Let's start off with premium relationship advice here from Springtime Girl. So she says, follow-up question. I believe it stopped glitching now for you guys. She says, hi, Tomisin, it's me again. I'm the only one who was seeing a guy who did all the good things with dates. It's not just about pineapples. We go out, we go for walks, play chess. He was consistent and he wanted us both to be exclusive. This is quite a flex. He initially said he wanted to build with me, but after 3 months, he suddenly said he's not ready for a relationship, but wanted us to continue to see each other with no changes to anything. I took your advice and walked away from the situation yesterday after he took me away for a really amazing weekend, and I knew I was getting too attached. Smart girl, okay? I'm heartbroken as he didn't fight for us. He just reiterated he's not ready yet, and doesn't want to be a barrier to me finding what I'm looking for elsewhere. Huh? That's pretty funny when guys say that he's doesn't want to be a barrier to you finding what you're looking for, but he's also not going to make it easy for you to find what you're looking for because he's going to take you out on an amazing weekend trip. Funny. He says he doesn't know when he'll be ready, but he's clearly unhappy that we can't just keep seeing each other in a situationship. I'm sure he would be quite unhappy about that. I am hopeful he'll miss me and what we had will come back in a month or two. My question is, if I'm lucky and he does come back, How do I handle it? What do I say to ensure he really is ready? I want to prepare myself and have the best chance of making it work. Thank you. So this is a good question, Springtime. What I want you to do here, okay, is first of all, you're already doing the right thing in terms of taking a step back and allowing him to make his own decision on what he wants. But if he does come back, I actually have a whole show dedicated to do on what to do when a guy comes back. You have to start evaluating when he does come back. Why is he back? Because one of two things could be happening here. When he does come back, he could be in a position where he just misses the fact that he was able to spend a lot of time with you, and he wants to go back to a place where he can continue to get that access to you and just spending time with you with no end goal. Or he could be coming back for the purpose of actually taking this seriously and building with you. This is one of those kind of like reverse psychology situations where he kind of treats you like a girlfriend, but then he says he's not ready for anything, but then he takes this seriously as if he's trying to make you his girlfriend. But here's the problem with that, is that down the road, you end up frustrated because you're like, wait, so you're just going to continue basically dating me without actually committing to me? But then that means basically any day you can just wake up and say, yeah, I'm done with this, or yeah, I found a new girlfriend. So that doesn't actually serve or help you. And I'm glad that you recognize that, which is why you pulled yourself away, because that's only going to work against you to your detriment. And so if he does come back, you need to be analyzing which reason is he coming back, to actually build something and have some direction here? Or is he just coming back so that he can apologize and say, yeah, you know, my bad for what I did. Can I take you out? But then by the time he takes you out, you guys go to dinner for a little bit and you guys chat for a little bit more. It goes right back to where it was the first time, which is no real direction forward into forward momentum in any place where you know where things stand and you have clarity. That'll be an issue. So when he comes back, you need to let him show you if he actually recognizes why that's an issue and if he's ready to like bring some direction and clarity to the relationship. If when he comes back that first time he starts talking to you again, calling you, or he asks you to meet that first time and you meet with him and you don't hear him talking a lot about clarity and talking a lot about what he's like ready to actually build with you and what his plan is, what the course of action is, the next steps are, then you know he's just here to continue doing the same thing that he was once doing. And sometimes guys will be tricky with this, is that when they'll come back into your life, they'll start telling you what you want to hear so that you'll entertain them again, but then they quickly go right back to what it was that they're doing. So one of the real good ways to spot that is to start asking him questions to see if he has a course of action. Not just yap that he can talk to you endlessly about, but actually a course of action and a strategy on how you two are going to get to the place that he wants you guys to be. And rest assured, there is a strategy even to building a relationship with someone, right? Like, and I want a course of action to even building a relationship with someone and making them your girlfriend. Hey, I want us, I'll give you an example of a course of action. So when he comes back, if he's serious, a course of action would be like, hey, so you live in, I don't know, let's just say you live in Italy and I live in Germany. And I know that I'm going to have exactly 1 month off free from work in the next, 4 weeks. And I want to make sure that I take that time off and I get to see you. And I want to make sure that we can start to plan a strategy of seeing each other every couple of months, because I really want to build this with you. And I know that we can make this work. We just have to figure out the long distance. And I know how we can do that. And I know if you're ready for that, we can work on that. That's someone bringing seriousness, bringing course of action, bringing logistics and strategy to the relationship and actually wants to make it better. Now, someone who's not doing that will just come to you and say, yeah, I like you a lot. Yeah, I miss you. Yeah, I want to see you again. He'll go on that date with you. And when you start asking him about a course of action, he'll just start saying things like, yeah, I really just, I really love spending time with you. And yeah, I really missed you not speaking to you. Can't do anything with that. Doesn't do anything for you. And it's going to put you back in the exact same place. Okay. So just keep it still. Don't break, right? As time goes on, this is like the first day, right? So as time goes on, this is going to get painful. I can assure you, even from your perspective, you're going to start being in pain because you're going to feel like, damn, I was spending a lot of good quality time with him and I do miss him and being around him and talking to him and cuddling him and all that stuff. So as time goes on, it's going to become more and more painful for you. But I want you to be aware that this is for your benefit, because at the end of the day, you'll get one of two results, and either one of those results is good for you. You'll either get him to come back in a way where he's ready to give you clarity and build this into a positive, more forward moving direction, or he'll never come back because he's never ready to give you clarity, and you will have avoided wasting years or even decades of your life being strung along by a guy who's gonna, treat you well for the time being, but never give you any sort of commitment that you're still confused 3-4 years down the road. Okay, right? Let's go on to the next question we have here, who is Sissy. Okay, Sissy. I'm confused. Please help. Okay. Sissy says, I have known a man for 7 years. I met him when times were rough. I have lost my brother, and he was a great support. I didn't want anything serious at the time, so we kept it as we see each other do the deeds, and that's it. Sissy, I'm going to tell you like I tell all of the other members of the Players Club. One of the worst things you can do, my condolences as well, but one of the worst things that you can do when you're trying to build with a guy is say to yourself, hey, because I'm not looking for anything that serious right now, I'm just going to hop into a situation that I'm not going to bother setting boundaries or presenting myself in a way where a guy's only going to get access to me if he takes this seriously. I just want to enjoy myself. Here's the problem with that, and this is what I always say to all you beautiful people. I try to remind you that whenever you're just doing something to have fun or to pass the time, you only end up in one of two scenarios. There's only two outcomes. Either it ends because things aren't going well. Maybe he gets a girlfriend, you get a boyfriend, or this is just not working out for you anymore. So it's done. Or number two is it goes on and you really enjoy it and you really like it, but now you like it so much, you enjoy the time you're spending with them so much, and you enjoy the guy so much that you start saying, I actually want more than for us to just have fun and sleep together. But here's the problem. You've spent the beginning and the whole entire relationship allowing him to get access to you for nothing, for free. And now you're telling him that you want or expect there to be standards and for him to treat you right and for him to take you out on dates and all that stuff to get the same access to you that he was already getting for absolutely nothing. So what ends up happening is you end up being frustrated because he says, I'm not going to give you more when you were already giving me access to you for free. I still want it for free. Okay? And that's usually what ends up happening. So let's go on here and we'll see if that happens. I haven't read this ahead of time. I was living a bit far from his hometown, but he came sometimes to play games with his teams at my town. So that is how we saw each other. So basically, whenever it was convenient for him. Okay. Literally, he wasn't even coming to see you, actually, hey, I'm only coming to your town to see you. He was already going to be in your town. And during the time he was already going to be in your town, he just used that as an opportunity to bust a nut. That's even worse. Okay. Time passed and I moved close to his town due to an abusive relationship. I needed to get away. I quickly had a BF there and he wanted to date, but I was unavailable, so never made it happen. Are you saying you had this is a totally different guy as a boyfriend there? And this guy that you're talking about and sending this message about, what you were unavailable to him? Time passes, but we kept in contact here and there. At one point this year, he blocked me on Snap, then a couple months later, unfollowed me on IG. Maybe he got a girlfriend too. I didn't think much of it because I saw at the time he had a girlfriend. Guys, I don't read this ahead of time, right? Isn't it funny how I literally predict exactly what's going to happen? Months go by, and I decided to ask about how he was doing. He responded very nicely and flirty. He even mentioned coming to my town the upcoming weekend. So he's probably single now. The weeks go by, and on the weekend, I decided to text him to check if he was in town. He replied, inviting me to join him in a close by town. I didn't have a car, so I told him, I said good night. He said he will text me the next day and ended saying how I was gorgeous and called me sweetheart. I said thank you and asked him how his day was going. The day goes by and no reply. At the end of the day, I decided to text him saying, ouchie, I would have loved to hear about your day. I noticed the iMessage didn't say delivered. Chat. You know what that means? I'll spell it out for you, sissy, since you probably don't understand why that happened. What he did there was he still has an ongoing situation. I'm going to spell it out for you. He still has an ongoing situation, whether he's with that girl still, or he's with a different girl, or he's kind of in a strange place with the old girl. And he messaged you while he was available to message you. And that's exactly why he said join him in the town that he's already in. So he, gets some quick access to you. By the next day, though, he's probably either with or going to see the girl that he's going to spend his time with. So he blocks you, which is why your message didn't deliver. Okay. It's not really because you did anything, but he doesn't want you to be texting him while he's with his actual girl. That's how that works. I quickly thought, maybe it's his internet or his phone was dead, but it's now been more than 24 hours and still nothing. I realized he may have blocked me. I'm confused and I don't know why he would have blocked me or what would be the reasoning behind this. Please help me understand, as confusion is unbearable. I'd much rather have him text me. He was no longer interested than leaving me in the dark like this. Yeah. So that's exactly what it was. So you mentioned at one point, so this is actually this year. So at one point this year, he blocked you on Snap, and then you realized that he had a girlfriend. So let's even say, for just hypothetically, after you realize that, literally, let's just say days after you realized that he had a girlfriend, he broke up with her. And so the months that went by, let's say he was single and now he's able to talk to whoever he wants. So it's only been a few months that he's been single. Let's just go ahead and be honest with ourselves. When you first break up with someone, a majority of the time, it's not over right then and there. And there's still a lot of remnants of the relationship before it actually ends for real, especially if they're dating for a long time. Now, I say that to say what's probably happened, like I said, is they still have an ongoing situation. If not, that's still his girlfriend. And he messaged you, like you said, he mentioned coming to your town the upcoming weekend. Obviously, his girlfriend probably doesn't live in that town. So that's why he messaged you, because he knew he wasn't going to be with this girl and he knew you would probably be available. Now, when you said that you had something to do, when it came to meeting him in a town close by and you didn't have the car, he realized that, okay, I'm not going to see her tonight, so this is kind of pointless. Because by the time he goes back to his hometown or where he's from and he's going to be with his girlfriend again, he doesn't want you messaging him silly stuff like, how's your day going? I'm not going to be mean to you, sissy, but let me let you in on a secret so that you can actually, understand what's going on. He's not trying to chat with you about your day. He wants to jackrabbit himself inside of you hardcore for 90 seconds or less. That's what he's trying to do. He ain't trying to hear you talk about how was your day, how you did this, how was work today, was your game good? And he don't give a damn about none of that. What he's trying to do is jackrabbit himself inside of you. He only messaged you all of that silliness that you guys were small talking about to see if you are willing to come meet him that night. When you shown yourself to be unwilling or incapable of meeting him that night, you served zero purpose to him after that. Why? Because he has an ongoing situation with the girl that he's probably still with. If that's not his girlfriend, it's still an ongoing situation. And he damn sure doesn't want you asking him silly questions on his phone like, how was your day, when he's laid up with his girlfriend. So he blocks your number because he don't want or need to be hearing from you when he's with her. Now, if there's ever a situation where he, is back in your town, or he's got some time on his hands, or he's not going to be with his girlfriend for an extended period of time, yeah, then he'll unblock you and he'll message you about whatever. But he don't give a damn to message you if he's with his girl, because that's the girl he actually cares about, her opinion, and he doesn't want her knowing anything about you. Okay, so you did get blocked, and that's the reason. Now, when it comes to what you should do now, you should stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your time. This guy doesn't really want to be with you or really want anything from you aside from to jackrabbit himself inside of you when he has time. He's trying to fall back into the same pattern that he was already doing. The pattern that okay, this is not to diss you, but you do realize the pattern that he had to you was like perfect for a side chick. Perfect. He came to your town whenever he was already going to come to your town and already going to be in your area. And he literally got to utilize you in the times that were most convenient for him without ever having to actually get up out of bed and go solely for you. So he got access to you he didn't even have to take the initiative enough to say, yo, I want to jackrabbit myself inside of someone, so I'm going to go to her town just to jackrabbit myself inside of her. He said, no, I have to have something to do over there first, and whenever I have something to do, I'll message her and then jackrabbit myself inside of her when I have time to. So I say that to say that's perfect for a side chick. Perfect situation. And so that's exactly what he's trying to turn you into here once again, is a side chick where you're just kind of there and he utilizes you whenever it's really convenient for him and he's already in your town or close by. Part of the reason why I never advise you guys, I love you all so much and I care about you all so much. I never, ever, ever advise you, any of you, to be doing things for the sake of fun or because you're not looking for something serious. Because the more you enjoy it, you're going to eventually want something serious. And you're going to be so frustrated, so devastated when you realize that you made such a horrible mistake allowing a guy to get you for free and access to you for free. And now that you want him for real and you want to build with him for real, you're thinking to yourself, damn, how do I undo all the stuff that I allowed to happen before? Okay. And the reality of it is you ain't going to be able to undo it now. Okay. Let me read out one because I see some people sent some new ones in. I'll read these. I'll let you guys create the message and I'll read them tomorrow. I know you guys sent them in just now, but sometimes people don't finish their message all the way. So I want to give you guys some time to finish out typing and stuff. Okay, so let's go on to the free relationship advice section here where we see sneaky link. By the way, guys, for those of you who are too nervy to get your question read out online, like I said, there is also private relationship advice where there's a link and there's a form that you fill out. You can send in your question. It's just like this, except it doesn't show up on the Discord. It only gets sent to me personally, the form that you fill out, and I send you back a message via email. I send you a voice message, okay? Because I know some of you are nervy about, just going ahead and putting it in the chat, and I wanted to give you guys another option as well. So Honeycomb Love says, Sneaky Link ghosted me after I ghosted him first. How is that possible? I met this guy and we went out a few times. We made it clear we were both looking for a friend with benefits situation. So he's gaslighting me up, saying all the things he's going to do. The time comes and he wanted to have unprotected pineapples. I was not with it at all. So he finally puts on a condom, but couldn't stay erected. This is going to be one of those type of messages. I didn't want to make him feel bad in the moment, so we just chilled with his soft penis. He kept begging to have unprotected pineapples with me. I made up an excuse to leave. This makes me feel gross. I got a bad vibe. After that, he called and texted. I didn't answer him. A week later, I answered. We talked about the situation. He apologized and said he wanted to see me again. So I let my guard down and agreed. We set up a date. Then on that day, he called and said he would be busy. We talked on the phone until he had to until he had to go do what he needed to do. Then he ghosted me. I'm curious as to why not just leave it alone in the first place. Why beg me to call you? I never called him again after. He hasn't reached out. Update. He has tried to contact me several times, but I haven't responded. After listening to several of your shows, I don't care to be bothered anymore. Thanks so much. I love it. So Honeycomb, very simple here. When a guy is utilizing you for free, or you made it clear that he can utilize you for free, giving away, not that any of you are products. When you give away a product for free so long, even though the product has value, it becomes very hard for people to accept the idea that something that was once free for them, they're going to now have to pay for or work for. When a guy understands that he can sleep with you without any commitment to you, he never sees a purpose in doing anything for you after that. He always thinks to himself, why am I doing something for her, calling her, being consistent with her, showing her any effort, when I should be able to just order her to my house like DoorDash? What also is happening here simultaneously is that guys there is an ego attached to like pineapples and intimacy. So if he tried to sleep with you and he couldn't get it up, he's like, damn, that was a free body that I literally couldn't get up and I couldn't get it, which is why he was begging you to do it unprotected, because that was probably messing with his mind and it was preventing him from being able to jackrabbit himself inside of you, right? And so he was probably saying, if you would just let me have it unprotected with you, then I could utilize you and discard of you way easier. My ego will be happy and I'll feel good and all that good stuff. Easy body. But you were frustrating him because you wanted to have protected pineapples, nothing wrong with that. But because he was frustrated and he couldn't get that easy access to you when you were literally allowing him to have it for free, his ego got hurt, and he also was like, damn, how's she gonna look at me now that I couldn't even get it up? That's embarrassing for me. So that was kind of like his chance. He wants a chance at redemption here, but he also finds it really stupid to be doing anything to put in effort with you. So probably after you talked on the phone, he was probably just started thinking to himself, what's the point of this? I don't want her. I don't want to build with her. I don't even want to chat with her. I don't even like her. I just wanted to satisfy my ego by getting to be able to sleep with her finally. So he probably hasn't hit you up because he's probably just like, this is too embarrassing for me and I don't really care to talk to her. I don't really even like her. Not to be diss to you, Honeycomb, but some of you need to realize that the guy you're friends with benefits doesn't even consider you a friend. Like, for some of these guys that you're friends with benefits with, you're like a blow-up doll to him. He doesn't like you. He doesn't think you're funny. He doesn't think you're interesting. He actually despises spending time with you. He only does it to sleep with you. I'm not saying that you guys are bad people or anything like that, but some of you guys get confused with some of this terminology. And you don't realize that You be thinking a guy really likes spending time with you and sleeping with you just comes with spending time with you. That's why he's there. When in reality, if you took sleeping with you off of the table, he wouldn't even have a single conversation with you. Not because you're a bad person or because you're unattractive or disgusting or anything, but just simply because guys are there for a reason. They don't invest themselves in people for no reason. And so when he's getting to sleep with you and then he just ends up spending time with you because he gets to sleep with you, don't confuse that with, oh, he's there to spend time with you, but he's just sleeping with you as a part of spending time with you. No, he's there to sleep with you. He's only spending time with you as a part of sleeping with you. Okay? Don't confuse yourself and put yourself in a jumbled up mess where you're committing yourself or doing more for a guy who literally doesn't even consider you a friend to him. Right? He just considers you a blow up doll. It's very, very degrading, and guys will never be able to accept you as something valuable that they should put effort towards when you allow yourself to be perceived like that. I just have to be so real with you so that you guys can stop making this mistake and rid yourself of the mindset that, hey, we're just chilling and we're just friends and everything's cool. It's not that cool to get treated like a blow up doll. That's not very cool. Okay? It doesn't feel very cool to get treated like, the lowest priority to someone. Not very cool. But that's the situation that you put yourself in when you allow we're just friends with benefits. We're just chill. We're just doing a thing just to get rid of our just to pleasure each other. Is the trauma really that pleasurable? Unless you have a kink for that. Anyways, let's go on to the next question here. Let's see. We got here. Fruitsy, okay, this one was deleted. Electric Field sent a voice message. Oh, by the way, guys, if you guys want to send voice messages into your question instead of typing out a whole thing, you can do that, I believe. Yeah, you can do that. Just title your question and send in a voice message. That'd be cool, actually, if someone did that. Scale of attractiveness, Elise says. So Elise says, hi, Tomisin, I'm wondering, do all men evaluate women on a 10-point scale of attractiveness? I was dating a guy, 35 years old, who rated me 8 out of 10. Which shocked me since I didn't ask for this evaluation and never rated him in return. He also evaluated his ex, starting at 7 out of 10 at the beginning of the relationship, eventually dropping her to 4 out of 10 over their 12 years together. I don't understand this approach. When I like someone, I appreciate them as a whole person. What do guys think? Do they see an 8 out of 10 and think it's a good enough for now, but would switch to a 9 out of 10 if they met one? Okay, I'm going to give you guys an answer here that will actually answer this question. I can't obviously speak for all men, but I'll give you how majority of men think, okay? I'll give you how the intelligent men think, and then I'll give you how the guys who have no idea what's going on think. The guys who have no idea what's going on just think, oh, hotter is better, so I want a 10 out of 10. I want a girl who's absolutely perfect, dump truck, yitties, smile, face, body, everything. If it's plastic, I don't care. If it's real, I don't care. I just want it to look like, like a magazine, okay? And that's all they chase after. Now, the intelligent men realize that when we're talking about 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, the scale is not like, oh, you're just a number. The scale is like, okay, there's a level of attractiveness to you, but intelligent men realize attractiveness is honestly not just about how you look physically. Attractiveness actually is very much your personality and your character. So intelligent men realize that when you're rating someone, you're not just rating, if you're calling it a rate, right? You're not just rating them on a physical sense, you're rating them on an emotional sense. How good is their personality? How easy are they to get along with? How much do you like them? Things like that, right? And so I say that to say, intelligent men realize that when it comes to the scale of physical attractiveness, there is only a certain threshold that really needs to be met until there becomes a level of what we call diminishing returns. I know that I'm making this sound really mathematical for some of you, but diminishing returns are just essentially what that means is after a certain threshold of attractiveness, it doesn't really matter if you're more attractive. Just because that doesn't really make you a better partner. Are you following what I'm saying? So men can have, the intelligent men have what they understand as a physical attractiveness scale, and then they have like an emotional and personality attractiveness scale. And they factor both of those into the whole human being. So someone that reaches the threshold of the physical attractiveness, which let's just say for the sake of example is like a 7 out of 10 for physical attractiveness, they're also not just factoring their physical attractiveness, they're also rating their emotional and character attractiveness. And if that is really low, but they're really physically attractive, let's say they're an 8 or a 9 out of 10, that doesn't make them overall someone that you would desire to be with. For the intelligent men, for the stupid men, they don't think about this stuff. But for the intelligent men, they're factoring in both rating scales here. And like I said, once you pass that threshold or you reach that threshold, it then all becomes about your emotional attractiveness and your character attractiveness, instead of just your physical attractiveness. Because having a girl who's a 9 out of 10 physical attractiveness, also physical attractiveness is a little bit subjective depending on each and every guy, but having a woman who's a 9 out of 10 physical attractiveness doesn't really make them a more desirable partner if their emotional attractiveness is very low. That's how the intelligent men categorize and scale stuff. And like I said, the men who have no idea what's going on, they're just sitting on the game, they just do what everyone else tells them to do or think. They just chase around the girls with the biggest butts and they don't think about any of that stuff. The intelligent men, when they're categorizing that or they're evaluating partners, they're actually thinking about both of those. And that emotional attractiveness can actually shift drastically the scale of someone's physical attractiveness. Okay? For the guys, that's just how I'll say that. Okay, so if you have a really disgusting personality, not that any of you do, but just hypothetically, if you did and you are really physically attractive, the intelligent men will say you don't become physically attractive to me anymore because you have a nasty personality. So realistically, for the intelligent men, the way they rate it is they meet you and then they decide on your attractiveness after meeting you because that's what's really going to affect the scale. And for the really stupid, unemotionally intelligent men, they just rate it solely based on how you look, and it doesn't matter how you treat them or what you say or your character. Okay, so that's basically that. I hope that makes sense to you. Next we have here, let's see, Martinez. Okay, Martinez says, I met this guy, 39 years old. I'm 42. We met on Hinge. Then he wrote me that he had met someone and would like to try with her. He said that he was about to delete his account. So I gave him my phone number just in case it wouldn't work out with her. So we could probably meet up one day. He texted me right back on my cell phone. He wrote me that he didn't fully commit to her, so he felt like he could still meet up with me and have drinks. Are we reading the same thing, chat? He went for the first kiss, and I know it's not smart from me. He convinced me to come to his place since it was late, and we had a few drinks. Please, please, please don't do this to me. Please, I'm going to count down from 10, and when I count down, when I get to 1, I'm going to open my eyes and I'm going to read the next sentence. Please, please don't disappoint me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We fooled around. I was able to say no, and he didn't have access to my Squirtle. What does fooled around mean? If you took off your pants or he took off yours, you made mistakes. I told him I was not looking for hookups. So why did you go over to his house and fool around then? We went on a second date. He drove me after work, 40 minutes. We played pool and kissed only. I went back to work, which is out of town. When I left, I told him that I wanted him to text me a bit more. What happened to the girl that he was getting off of Hinge for? He deleted Hinge because he was talking to another girl and getting serious with her, which is why he was deleting it. What happened to that girl? He responded that it was a bit much as he just met me. Again, what happened to the other girl? I told him that you can expect to have pineapples on the first date and be, wait, what? And be put off if I'm asking you to text me a bit more. What? Am I reading this right? I told him that you can expect to have pineapples on the first date and be put off if I'm asking you to text me a bit more. I don't understand that sentence. Anyways, he realized later what I meant. I don't even realize what you meant. Okay, someone said she meant to say can't. I told him that you can't expect to have pineapples on the first date and be put off. Okay. Thank you. Some of you guys, I was like, what? I'm like trying to read it as she said it. Anyways, he realized later what I meant. He said I went up a few levels for not having pineapples with him. Exactly what I tell you guys. Guys will beg you to do something that will actively make you less than in their eyes. And then when you actually stand up for yourself and respect yourself, they respect you more and like you more because of it. So never listen to what men say they want. Watch the Players Club. Let me explain to you what men actually want. Do that. And don't be confused when you do what he says he wants. You sleep with him on the first night because he says he really likes you and that's what would make him happy. And then you wonder why he doesn't seem to show you that he likes you after that, okay? Don't be confused by what guys say. Don't even listen to what they're saying. During the third, I think you might say during the third date, later we spoke about how we wanted things to go moving forward. He said he didn't want me to feel used, so he said, let's get to know each other more and see where things go. He told me that he was tired of having empty, I think you might say like pineapples with women. At the end of the night, we fooled. What is going? Let me take a stretch. I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. I really just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. When you, it's like when you're seeing that you're doing the right thing and you're moving in the right direction, you actively start thinking to yourself, okay, I'm moving in the right direction here and things are going well here. But, because things are going well, let me make some mistakes that will ruin everything I've been working towards here. Because why, when you've gained a little bit of respect, start fooling around again? Why? Why not just stick to the game plan and continue on the path of earning respect? That will always serve you more in the long run. We fooled around and he got access to my Squirtle. A bit? What do you mean a bit? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean a bit? Someone says she has to be 15. You thought, right? You thought, right? That's what you thought, right? He got access to my Squirtle a bit and stopped because he wanted us to respect our boundaries. I'm going to get up and stretch again, chat, just because I wasn't even expecting that to be the... Wow. 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 So, oh, God. Oh, my God. Wow. You have allowed, you've allowed the guy who he's supposed to be the one pursuing you. You've actually allowed him to be the one to tell you no and say, we are not going to do this right now. We're going to wait and we're going to do this when it's time. Do you know how weak that makes you look? Do you know how valueless that makes you look? That he has to be the one to tell you, hey, let's wait to do this at the right time. And you're sitting there on the bed with your legs spread wide open, ready for him to penetrate you. You're on the bed with your each leg behind your head. You've been stretching for hours and preparing for this day. You shaved, you cleaned everything out, you ate pineapples the night before, and your legs are behind your head waiting for him to jackrabbit himself inside of you. And he's the one telling you, hey, please put your pants on, put your underwear on, put your socks back on, take your legs out from behind your head. Let's get up off of this bed and let's go out on a nice date because I think you deserve more respect than this. Like, you have to understand how bad this looks. You really do. Because it's not just not sleeping with you. It's for him to be the one to say, let's not sleep together, is a very bad look on you. Because when you start talking about boundaries you have and how you deserve respect and you're not that type of girl, you're going to look like a fool. Because if anything, he's the one that's not that type of guy. He's not the type of guy to just sleep with you for nothing. It's not good. It's not good at all. I saw him for the 4th time and we ate out. I hope you mean like you ate out somewhere, not he ate you out, and chilled at his place. Getting to know each other, no fooling around, no pineapples. Yeah, because he said no. So this is horrible. You guys aren't having pineapples because he's saying no to you. This is horrible. Did you mean to send in a horror story? I slept over at his place too. Oh God. Yeah. Just more fuel to the fire there. Not only is he telling you, no, we're not going to sleep together, but you still sleep at his place so that he never gets a chance to like miss you. And he's the one. Oh my God. 5 dates in 1 month. I noticed that I initiate the conversations a lot by text. Oh my God. I'm going to have a breakdown. He answers very fast. He never says no to see me and always pays for everything. So you're saying he never says no to see you because you're the one asking him. I'm not quite sure if this guy likes me or not, or for something serious. Oh God, this is just a back and forth between someone. Martinez. You need some self-control. And I mean that so seriously. There comes a point where you have to say to yourself, despite what makes me happy in the moment, what is best for me in the long run? What I mean by that is, like, what you're doing here is not going to serve you in the long term of this relationship, because it doesn't make you look like someone who respects yourself. I know that you have desires. I know that you would love to be touched. It's part of the reason why I say go and get that Tracy's dog. The link in my description, or if you go in my bio on TikTok, you'll find it where I say recommended items, because you need to solve that if that is something that's so much on your mind that you can't control yourself when you're with the guy that you like. And the thing about it is, I know that you're not meaning to be a bad person by kissing him and fooling around and stuff. But the problem is when you allow men to get that easy access to you, it becomes very difficult for them to see you as someone that they respect. And the craziest part is, I don't understand how you didn't recognize that the best thing for you to do for this guy was to not sleep with him or fool around with him, when he literally told you, I wish I could find where you said it, that he literally told you that he respected you because you told him no, right? Actually, it's right here. He realized later what I meant, and he said, I went up a few levels for not having pineapples with him. So he's literally telling you, I like you more when you tell me no. I like you more when you set boundaries. I like you more when you show me that you have respect and you demand that respect from me. And then you proceed to have less respect for yourself and do the exact opposite, despite him telling you that I actually appreciate you more when you show me you have respect for yourself, right? And you said he got access to you, and he is the one that stopped it because he wanted you guys to respect your boundaries. It's very bad. It's very bad, Martinez. Because now in his eyes, he yields all the power. You can't even tell him no. In fact, he's the do you know the amount of power a guy will feel that he has when a woman wants to sleep with him and he's the one telling that woman no? Do you understand the amount of, like, you're supposed to be the woman telling him whether he can sleep with you or not, and he's the man telling you no to sleeping with him? And you know what? You know why this is horrible? Because now when you try to come at him and say, yeah, I just decided that we're not going to do any more fooling around and we're not going to do any more sleeping together and da-da-da. And you're thinking in your mind, okay, when I say this, he's going to respect me. He's not. Because he knows in his mind, what are you talking about? I already said no to us sleeping together. So you're telling me that we're not going to fool around or sleep together. I already said it. I already said we're not doing it. So you're not setting any boundaries here by coming out and saying that, right? And he's going to know that that's just an ego thing because you feel like you want to be like, oh, I'm the one that said it. In reality, let's be so for real, he's the one that said it. He's the one that set the boundary, and he's the one that actually has enough respect for you that he said, let's not just cross the boundary. You're the one with no self-control. You're the one that can't say no. Doesn't make you a bad person, but I just want you to see how now you look in his eyes. The second thing that I want to address here is, where did the girl go that at the beginning of this message he was talking to, and the reason he deleted the account? I just really feel like, okay, sometimes I want you guys to start adopting the approach that I have, and I want you guys to start becoming curious about life and people. When someone tells you at the beginning of meeting them that they're deleting a dating app to go be with some other girl, and then they proceed to build a relationship with you after that, how does it not occur in your mind to ask what has happened to the other girl? Whether they broke up, if they're still talking, what was going on, what transpired. Sometimes I love you all, But sometimes you guys get so caught up in feeling good about attention from a man that you stop asking very, very, very important questions. And only months and years down the line do you realize that the answer to your questions were always existing, and why you're confused 3 months from now, 10 months from now, a year from now could have been answered for you if you would have just bothered to actually be curious about clear red flags at the beginning. Because Martinez, I know you're just a human being and we all make mistakes, including me, but it really is very silly to meet a man from a dating app who says he's deleting the dating app to go be with another woman, proceed to start dating that man, sleeping with that man, without ever acknowledging what has transpired with that woman. To just ignore that statement and ignore that reality as if it just stops existing because now you're having fun with him and you're with him, that makes no sense. And maybe you did ask that to him and you just didn't put it in your message, but I feel like that should have been the first question you got answered. And that should have been an ongoing question that you had for him, because for someone to say that they're deleting the dating app to go and be with one person in particular, you do understand the level of seriousness that comes with, especially for people who are serial date appers. That's not something you just say lightly. You don't just say, I'm deleting the dating app because I'm going to go be with someone, and that's like something that's just light. You're only doing that if that relationship is super serious. Like serious to the point where if you were caught on a dating app, it would be not okay. So I say that to say that's not you don't just go from that place in a relationship to taking you out what is essentially like the next day. Because you said right after that, he texted you. And then right after that, he asked you out for drinks. How does someone go from being in a relationship that is so serious that they delete a dating app to asking you out for drinks in the same day? These are the type of things you need to be questioning and asking him questions about and getting a very clear understanding of. Because if he starts telling you a story that makes no logical sense, now you have to start getting your mind has to start firing and saying, oh, there's something off here. He's either omitting part of the truth or he's completely lying about what the truth is. So before I sleep with him or commit myself to him, let me figure out what the truth is or withdraw myself completely, because this guy clearly isn't on nothing truthful or serious. And he's got some stuff going on behind the scenes that he doesn't want me to know about. I know that we all learn at a different pace, but you're old enough that you should be understanding that, everything is not as it seems with people, especially guys, and especially guys that you meet on dating apps. And for you to not be questioning what is going on, right? You don't have to interrogate him, but for this not to be a topic of conversation that you get very crystal clear is a mistake. Because what will happen, like I said, is throughout the relationship, you're going to start seeing a lot of inconsistencies, red flags, and weird situations and the way he acts and approaches your relationship because of what's stemming from this situation. But because you didn't get answers on this situation, you'll be confused why that's happening. When you wouldn't be confused if you would have just asked those questions and received that clarity. Very big mistake, Martina. So I think that the next time you see him, what you need to be doing is asking him what happened with this situation and being very clear on that if you do see him again, right? And before you ever sleep with him or fool around with him or anything with him again, you need to be very clear where this stands. That you're not dating a man who's either married or dating a man who already has a girlfriend or dating a man who's got a whole nother situation going on somewhere else with someone else while he's doing something with you. Because that ain't going to work for you. And let's thank our Lord that he, you said he got access to your score a little bit. So let's just be for real. You're saying he basically put the tip in, and maybe a little bit more. So that counts as a body to me. Maybe not to you, but that counts as a body to me. If he had something, you were going to get it. So that counts as a body to me. And I just say that to say, you need to get answers before you start exploring this. That's my real honest advice to you, for real. Okay. Next year we have, let's see here. We'll do, is this the next one? Oh, the next one's really long. This is really long. Okay. Well, we'll save that for tomorrow. That one's really long. What's going on here? That is the show for today. Don't worry. If I didn't get a chance to answer your question, I have plenty of opportunities to answer them. I'm here every weekday, so don't fret. I will get to your question. And if you want to skip the line of people, because remember, if you send your question in the free relationship advice, it's going to take me about a month to answer your question. So please, if you want your question answered ASAP, you have two awesome options. You can either send your question into Relationship Advice Premium, and you can ask it there, and I answer it live on the show, which will probably be like by tomorrow. I'll get to it, because you get to skip the line. All you got to do is donate to the show. You go to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube, or you can ask me a premium private relationship advice question, and all you got to do is fill out the form. The link is in my bio, and once again, the link is in my description as well. You ask me a private relationship question, and I answer it to you via email. It doesn't go on the Discord. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's just a form that you fill out, and it goes directly to me. So you have two amazing options depending on who you are, okay? For those of you who are on YouTube and you want to follow me, for those of you who are on YouTube or TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram name is just Tomisin_Tub. It's right on the top left side of the screen, and you can get access to me there. Someone says, can we see an example? So I'll show you guys right now. We'll go into the Discord. It's posted in the Discord, the instructions. It just says private relationship advice. The link is there in private relationship advice, and I say the instructions there. You just click the Google Doc. The Google Doc opens up. You guys can't see the Google Doc, but you'll see it, and you fill it out, and then you answer your question. You get your question answered that way. When you submit it, I get a notification, and then I answer your question with the email that you send. Okay. And for those of you who are on YouTube, my Instagram name is there on the bottom right of the screen as well, and you can follow me there as well. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch this show in its entirety because you missed parts of it, and or you came late and you want to rewatch it, you can feel free to go onto my YouTube. It's just Tomisin Atobatele. Type it in on YouTube, and you'll find my YouTube page. Go into the live section. Make sure you're in the live section. Then you'll be able to see this live stream along with every other live stream I've done in the past with the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded, so you never miss even a little bit of the conversation that's happening there. All right, guys? Until we meet again, I'll be here tomorrow, as I am every weekday, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. Until then, goodbye for now. Arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, bon voyage. And I will see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, I love you. Love you.